It is easy to put our favorite celebrities on a pedestal, but sometimes they can let us all down big time. Celebrities often do some pretty questionable things, and it might be that because of their celebrity status, they think that they're above the law, but that is not the case at all. Today we'll be discussing some behavior by celebrities that is either confirmed or alleged that could have these celebrities facing jail time. Let's dive right into today's list of the top 10 celebrities who should be in jail. Starting off this list in our number 10 spot, we have Chris Brown. Chris Brown most definitely needed to be included on today's list for a few obvious reasons, mostly relating to his history of violence against women. First, we have the terrible night after the Grammys in 2009 when he harmed his girlfriend at the time, Rihanna. We have the time in 2011 when he smashed a window and stormed off the set of a Robin Roberts interview. In 2012, he allegedly stole a woman's phone after she took a picture of him, or the time he apparently shoved a woman to the ground in 2013 and she suffered torn ligaments in her right knee after the altercation. Or the time in 2016 when his female tour manager accused him of threatening her with a physical attack, or in 2018 when he was detained by the LAPD after having a standoff at his home following an accusation by a woman that claimed he had threatened her with a gun. Unfortunately, this isn't even all of the incidents that he has been involved in throughout the years, but I think it's safe to say that this is one star who needs to be held accountable. In our number 9 spot today, we have James Charles. James Charles is no stranger to being in the limelight, and as we all well know, it tends to be for the wrong reasons. James quickly shot to fame in 2016 as fans gushed over his makeup skills. His YouTube following continued to grow over the years, and although he had a major setback following all that Tati Westbrook drama a few years ago, he managed to recover his public image, but this time it's tough to say if that will even be possible. Earlier this year in February, a 16-year-old spoke out and claimed that James had been grooming him and that the two had exchanged explicit photos over Snapchat. This is obviously a huge issue, especially considering the fact that James is an adult. James responded to this by saying that he didn't know the boy's age at the time, which, whether or not that's true, doesn't make it okay. After this, there have been more males coming forward, with some even sharing screenshots of their interactions with the YouTuber. Some of the people who have come forward have been of age, but certainly not all of them. In our number 8 spot today, we have Amber Heard. Amber Heard has been in the news for quite a few years following her very public issues and divorce from Johnny Depp, and for a while the world was on her side, but as more details and evidence have come forward, that continues to change. In 2016, Amber Heard filed for divorce from Johnny Depp and accused him of violent behavior towards her, stating that it usually happened while he was under the influence of drugs or alcohol. It is of course extremely important for us to listen to the voices of people who have been the victims of crime, and considering how many people don't get taken seriously, everyone was quick to rush to Amber's side, but right from the beginning there were some questions that began to arise about what she was saying. It started off with a story she told where Johnny had thrown his phone at her and left her with a bruised face, but a police spokesperson explained that that hadn't actually happened. In 2018, Amber wrote an op-ed for the Washington Post claiming the abuse, and after this, in 2019, Johnny sued Amber for a $50 million defamation lawsuit over the article. In the suit, Johnny claimed that the violence was actually perpetrated by her and that he was the victim. Last year in 2020, phone recordings were released in which Amber admitted to hitting Johnny, and in July, the trial for the lawsuit began, and 3 weeks later, the court ended up ruling against Johnny, and he has been denied the right to an appeal. Johnny was also forced to resign from his role in the movie Fantastic Beasts 3. All in all, there's a lot going on in this one, and it remains unclear if Amber definitely deserves jail time, but it certainly is a reminder for us to gather all of the evidence in these situations before making judgment calls. In our number 7 spot today, we have MARILYN Manson. In September of 2020, former partners of Manson's began to communicate with each other in regards to their past history with the musician. On January 21st of 2021, the California State Senator sent a letter to the director of the FBI and the United States Attorney General asking them to investigate these disturbing allegations. After this, Manson's former fiancée, Evan Rachel Wood, bravely posted on Instagram about the terrible things she had to endure during the relationship and how it started when she was only a teenager, but she now refuses to live in fear of retaliation. To be clear though, this is not at all the first time she has spoken out about these things, it's just the first time she named who did it to her. In 2016, she gave a Rolling Stones interview where she spoke about being a survivor of domestic abuse. And in 2018, she testified in front of the California State Senate on behalf of the Phoenix Act, which was a bill she designed that would extend the statute of limitations on cases like these from 3 years to 5 years. And in 2019, she posted photos of herself from a 2010 photo shoot with the hashtag #IamNotOkay, and the caption explained how weak and depressed she was on this day due to the things she was having to endure in her relationship. Manson has since been dropped by his record label and talent agency, and on February 19th, an investigation began, and on April 30th, another ex-girlfriend of his, Esme Bianco, filed a lawsuit against the musician and his former manager. This is all to say that investigations are ongoing, and I respect the due process of these things, but if evidence comes out of these allegations being true, then this is almost certainly a jailable offense. In the number 6 spot today, we have TORY LANEZ. TORY LANEZ is a rapper and songwriter who first fell into legal trouble in 2016 after inciting a riot at a venue in which the police had to come to shut everything down, but he narrowly escaped charges for his role in that. Last year in 2020, things most definitely escalated though. On July 12th, 2020, after a house party, there was some sort of an argument and some sort of violence that led to Megan Thee Stallion having an injury to her foot, which she would later reveal was the result of TORY shooting her. Him and his representatives have sworn that this is some sort of smear campaign to try and ruin his name. In October of last year, TORY actually did end up being arrested and charged with the felony counts of with a semi-automatic firearm, personal use of a firearm, and carrying a loaded unregistered firearm in a vehicle, and he also faces an allegation that he personally inflicted great bodily injury with a gun. And while he pled not guilty on all charges, if found guilty, he could be facing up to 22 years in prison. There was a rumor earlier this year that said that the charges were being dropped against the rapper, but Megan Thee Stallion took to Twitter to let everyone know that's not true, and also asked for people to stop making light of her own personal trauma. In our number 5 spot today, we have the Stokes twins. In August of 2020, the Stokes twins were charged in relation to a 2019 prank video they filmed, which of course has been removed from YouTube. In the video, the two pretended to rob a bank. They wore all black outfits and had masks and filmed themselves interacting with strangers, some of which were very worried about, believing they were encountering criminals who had just perpetrated terrible crimes. The boys called an Uber and got in the car and began demanding that they be taken somewhere else, but the driver refused. Shortly after this, since believing that this car was involved in possible bank robberies, law enforcement had to question this Uber driver after holding the innocent man at gunpoint in order to secure the situation. This would of course be absolutely terrifying for someone who had done nothing wrong at all. Just a short while ago in April of this year, the boys both pleaded guilty in exchange for not receiving the maximum of 5 years they were both facing. Instead, because of their pleas, they received 160 hours of community service, 1 year of probation, and they've been ordered to pay restitution. These boys narrowly escaped a fate much worse, and I hope this whole thing has really taught them a lesson. In our number 4 spot today, we have Zoe Laverne. Zoe Laverne is a 19-year-old TikToker who rose to fame on the app, but everything turned upside down for the TikToker last year in November when a video of her kissing a young 13-year-old fan came to light. This is obviously a huge problem given the ages of the two involved. Zoe apologized, saying that she had caught feelings for the young fan, but denied the allegations that she had been grooming him. The age of TikTokers is full of drama and scandals, but this is one that certainly crossed a line, and an apology cannot fix something of this magnitude. In her apology, she said that she cut off contact with the boy and she deactivated her TikTok for a short while. Upon her return, her first video still managed a whopping 1.4 million likes, almost as if people had no idea what was going on, or they just didn't care, which is quite horrifying. Zoe's most recent popular news is that she is now expecting a child with her current boyfriend, and it doesn't seem as though any law enforcement agencies have been in contact with her about the video. It seems as though she may not face any consequences at all for the video at this current time. In our number 3 spot today, we have Jen Shah. On March 30th of this year, Real Housewives of Salt Lake City star Jen Shah was arrested on 2 counts due to allegedly running a telemarketing scheme that was targeting the elderly or other people who had troubles with computers. Along with Jen herself, one of her assistants, Stuart Smith, was also arrested in connection with this crime. The pair's roles in the schemes have been alleged to be defrauding hundreds of people over the age of 55 by selling lead lists for fictitious business opportunities. Jen is facing the charges of conspiracy to commit wire fraud, which would carry a sentence of 30 years, and also conspiracy to commit money laundering, which would carry an extra 20-year sentence. This whole thing is quite a large deal, and a potential 50-year jail sentence surely isn't something that should be taken lightly. Jen has pled not guilty to these charges brought against her, and her court date has been set for October 18th, 2021, but that is of course subject to change based on COVID protocols. In our number 2 spot today, we have the Lopez brothers. The Lopez brothers rose to fame as stars on TikTok as well as living in the Hype House mansion, but last year saw the beginning of a lot of controversy for the pair. Both brothers on separate occasions have been the center of sexual allegations made by young girls. The first allegation came out against Tony Lopez, and it was by 2 teenage girls who claimed that he attempted to coerce them into certain behaviors, as well as trying to solicit explicit photos from them, all the while knowing they were underage. These 2 teens actually ended up filing a lawsuit as apparently there were injuries that were suffered. Tony denied these allegations and called the lawsuit a money grab. Tony's older brother Andres also was facing allegations of the same sort of misconduct, and a video was released showing him meeting with the mother of one of the accusers, but it's unclear what happened after and if there will be any legal action taken. It is clear that if these allegations are based in truth, then both brothers need to be held accountable for their actions. In our number 1 spot today, we have Jake Paul. There have been a lot of questionable activities by Jake Paul over the years, and I'm sure a few instances could have led to some sort of jail time attached, but today I want to talk about the most recent of all the scandals. A few days ago, Jake uploaded a video of himself and some of his buddies driving golf carts down a beach in Puerto Rico. You might be wondering why, and I wish I had an answer, but you also might be wondering why this is a serious offense, and that is because it is turtle nesting season in Puerto Rico, which would of course make it illegal to drive a vehicle down the beach in order to protect the turtles and the eggs. Sea turtles are protected by federal and state laws, and even if they weren't, we should always be trying to protect wildlife, especially considering how unimportant it is to drive a golf cart on a beach with your friends. This stunt now has the Department of Natural and Environmental Resources in Puerto Rico investigating exactly where and when this video came from, in case there needs to be some sort of legal action taken. This might be the time where Jake's thoughtless actions actually end up catching up with him. Alright guys, that has been our list for today. Thank you so much for checking it out. I've been your host today, Olivia Kozlovsky, and I'll see you next time. Bye!